Hello there. There are already dozens of starter Pokemon in the Pokemon franchise, and people loves these types of Pokemon mainly because of their design and battle prowess. And because Scarlet and Violet are on the horizon, with new starters also on the horizon, I thought it would be fun today to rank every starter from every trio. Basically, how this video would work is I take each Pokemon from their respective region and see how good they are in competitive, and I'll pick one winner from each region. I will be splitting this video up into two parts because of time constrictions, but other than that, let's get into the video. Our first Pokemon is Bulbasaur, who evolves into Venusaur, which Venusaur is a very powerful Pokemon, which can even be even stronger, turning into Mega Venusaur. Venusaur doesn't have the best level up move pool, barely getting any stab moves for poison, but it does have some pretty decent stats, having some good across the board with getting even better with Mega Evolution. Next up, we have a tiny little Squirtle that can evolve into a Blastoise. Now, Blastoise is very powerful, evolving into Mega Blastoise, and looking at its move pool, it isn't the best. However, Bite and Rapid Spin are pretty good moves to have. Plus, it does have some pretty good stats, getting even better with Mega Blastoise, just improving all around. Next up, we have Charmander, which is able to evolve into Charizard, which Charizard has two Mega forms, being Mega Charizard Y and Mega Charizard X, turning into the respectful Dragon type. It actually has the best level up moveset out of all of them. Besides that, it does have some pretty okay stats, getting demolished with giant stats across the board. In conclusion, what the best starter in Kanto is, I think, is Charizard, mainly because of its Mega Evolutions and its inconsistency, because it can turn into Mega Y or Mega X, making it more unpredictable than the other two. Next up, we have Chikorita, which can evolve into Meganium. Now, Meganium is a bit controversial in the Pokemon community, but looking at its moveset, we don't see very much besides like Poison Powder and Reflect, which are good coverage moves. Other than that, it has some pretty good defenses, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we have Totodile, which evolves into the very powerful Feraligatr. Now, Feraligatr is a strong water type. Looking at its moveset, it has really good coverage, having fighting, ice, and dark type moves. Has some really good stats with good defenses and amazing attack. Next up, we have Cyndaquil, which evolves into Johto's Charizard. Now, Typhlosion is a very good Pokemon, having pretty good moves all around, having Rollout and Gyro Ball. Other than that, it isn't very good, having just mediocre stats, being the same as Charizard's. In conclusion, the best Johto starter, in my opinion, is Typhlosion, mainly because it has pretty good speed and pretty good special attack. Second place is easily to Feraligatr, though, honorable mention. Next, we have Trico, which evolves into Sceptile. Now, Sceptile does have a Mega Evolution, which turns it into a Dragon type. Looking at its move pool, its only level up Dragon move is Dual Chop, which is bad. But other than that, it has some pretty good stats, getting way better when it Mega Evolves, having good speed, good special attack, and decent attack. Next up, we have Mudkip, which evolves into Swampert. Now, on paper, Swampert is the best because of its base stat total, but it does Mega Evolve, which it turns into a beefy boy, but it does have a good moveset, having Hammer Arm as a good coverage move, and Mudshot and Earthquake, which are good ground moves. Other than that, it has some really decent stats, getting even better when it Mega Evolved. Next up, we have Torchic, which evolves into the very powerful Blaziken. Now, Blaziken is a very powerful Pokemon, getting even more broken when it turns into Mega Blaziken. It arguably has the best moveset out of all the Hoenn starters, having Aerial Ace, which is good flying type moves, and other than that, it has some really other good moves like Close Combat. Its stats are really good, getting way better when it turns into a Mega Blaziken. In the end, what do I think is the best starter out of all the Hoenn starters? Well, it was pretty easy to come up with it. It is Blaziken. Now, the reason why I chose Blaziken is because it is very broken. Once hidden abilities were added, it got Speed Boost, which single-handedly make it one of the most broken Pokemon in Hoenn, just in general, actually. Next, we have Turtwig, which evolves into Torterra. Now, Torterra is looked upon as a very good Pokemon in Sinnoh. A lot of people started with it, and I can see why, because it has a good moveset, having good moves like Crunch and Earthquake at its disposal, and its stats tell other stories as well, having good attack, good defenses, pretty good all around. Next up, we have the adorable Piplup, which evolves into Empoleon. Now, Empoleon is probably one of the best typed Pokemon we have ever seen in the starter line, having good moves with steel coverage, flying moves, other moves that are really good, such as Hydro Pump and Bubble Beam. Its stats say a lot with good special defense and good special attack. Finally, we have Chimchar, which evolves into Infernape. Now, Infernape is one of the most competitively offensive threats. At least it used to be. It used to be a very good Pokemon because it has some good coverage moves such as Acrobatics, U-Turn, Close Combat, and other moves that are really good. Its stats are very balanced, having good speed, good special attack, good attack, and mad defenses. So in conclusion, the best Sinnoh starter out of all three of them, in my opinion, is the firefighting Infernape, because it has Iron Fist, which boosts a lot of its good moves. It just has Thunder Punch, which is a good coverage for water Pokemon, which I think makes it really good. To end off this video, the best starters from each region were Charizard for Kanto, Typhlosion from Johto, Blaziken from Hoenn, and finally, Infernape from Sinnoh. It's kind of ironic that all the starters were fire types. Huh. Thank you so much for watching. Just to clarify, this video was cut short because of time constrictions. I'm very sorry about that, by the way. New video will be out in a few days, hopefully by next week. But other than that, thank you so much for being patient, and goodbye.